Do we? Okay.
What did you injure?
With ribs.
Ribs?
Yeah,
Okay.
is that weird?
I'm recovering from a broken ankle with tons of surgery on it.
How long ago?
5 months, but it takes a long time.
Yeah. Yep, I broke my ankle. No, a year and a half ago. And,
Still feel it.
yeah, not all the time, but.
I broke my hand when I was in high school, and it still bothers
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's funny because, not funny, haha, but,
Interesting.
it's the right word, serendipitous.
Okay.
Talking about, for those of you who are at home, injuries, having injured different parts of our bodies and then dealing with that on our mat and in our lives. And today we're going to focus on comfort zones. So after this, it's a beautiful day, right? And after this, I have to meet my husband in Peddler's Village at Giggleberry Fair for a 4-year-old's birthday party. And let me tell you guys, I'm not equipped for this. Hi.
Hi.
Are you Maria?
Yes.
Great. Just come and grab a mat and come on in. We're just
Hi.
getting started. There's some props over here. So this is the part of parenting that, I don't feel particularly cut out for when I enter the birthday party scene. And it really is, outside of my comfort zone. I'm like overwhelmed, socially overstimulated, so many children, other parents that I don't know. It's not necessarily, how I would choose to spend my Saturday afternoon, yet here we are. And it had me thinking about how in yoga, we deal with, whether we're aware of it or not, we're constantly dealing with our comfort zone in each pose. And I think that we typically have a default as to where the range that we like to stay in our yoga practice and, in our lives, which is either we're someone who has a tendency to hold ourselves to stay back from our comfort zone, right? That's me. I'm like, I'm good over here. I'm not necessarily pushing myself, just for the sheer joy of it. But there are some people who are the other way, right? Who are constantly kind of pushing past their limitations and boundaries. And in yoga, I see this often with people who shouldn't be taking vigorous vinyasa classes, but feel like they need that heavy workout and they push themselves to the point of injury. And so on the mat, we call this in every pose, finding our edge. So what does that mean, right? That means that within every posture and every seat, every asana that we take, we're exploring this idea of comfort zone, where we're saying, okay, here I am. This is, very comfortable position for me to be in if I'm seated in Baddha Konasana. And if I come more fully into the pose, there's a point where all of a sudden my body says, like that's it, that's far enough. And I can back out of that a little bit and make it really easy and get no, sensation or stretch, or I can push myself further because I think the pose should look a certain way, right? That happens. And so this is your edge within each pose. It's like, can I find that place where I'm moving just out of my comfort zone, where I'm, feeling something, where I'm taking myself into the shape, into a place that we could call discomfort, right? Not necessarily physically comfortable yoga, which some people find surprising. I've had many people in class, especially in gentle classes over the years, be like, this isn't relaxing. It's like, no, not to be in the pose, but it will be when you come out. That's kind of the magic of yoga. So we're going to explore that today and kind of see where it is that we need to just go a little bit further and then where we need to back up a little bit. And when you have an injury or some kind of chronic pain. Like I was talking the other week about this tendonitis I have from my daughter carrying her. And her just, it's repetitive motion that I should switch sides because it's not comfortable for me. And so how that shows up, or when you injure yourself when you're healing from a break, or a straining a muscle, bruising yourself, all of a sudden your edge is much different, right? All of a sudden it becomes much more apparent. I can't do that. I shouldn't do that in a minute. That's when the edge moves from discomfort into pain, and that's never what we want. So psychologically, then we have to deal with, okay, can I really back it up without feeling like I'm not doing my practice the normal way? So let's all take a nice comfortable seat. Sit up nice and tall and close your eyes. And take a moment to welcome your breath. To welcome yourself to your mat and to your practice today. And take this moment to notice what it is that you're feeling in this present time. You can check in with your body and let your sitting bones, your hips and your legs get heavy and rooted, grounded. And then keeping that as you inhale, lengthen through your side bodies, lengthen out of your pelvis. Take your shoulders up, back and down. Elongate your spine, sit up a little taller. Notice your breath and what shifted with the breath when you gave yourself a little more room in the physical body. And then take an inhale to the count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, then hold, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold and pause, 2, 3, 4, and then inhale, begin again. So you can count to yourself. And as we move into this different breath pattern, inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhale for 8, hold for 4, and inhale, repeat. Notice those pauses and the edges of your breath, moving just outside of that comfort zone where we're shifting the breath pattern from a standard inhale, exhale, to this more challenging breath pattern of holding our breath. And notice what that brings up. Just do one more round like that. And then let your breath return to a natural rhythm. And then draw your hands together in front of your heart. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. Perhaps it's just to explore this idea of comfort zones, to notice where you are with that in your life. Do you tend to play it safe, or do you tend to need to pull back a little bit, a tendency to go past your boundaries? And maybe you set an intention to play with that in your life, on your mat. And then let's begin our class and seal in our intentions with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in and let it go. 2 more like that. And then gently bow your head to your heart, honoring yourself in advance for your practice today. And slowly open your eyes, release your hands. We're going to start off on our back, so you can move your props off to the side. Recline onto your back and bring the soles of your feet together, your knees wide. And you may find that as soon as you come into this shape, that it's too far outside of your comfort zone. And if that's the case, then you give yourself more of a boundary by using blocks underneath your thighs. Otherwise, you see if you can settle in, sink into the shape, let your body get heavy, and play with this idea of letting go of the resistance, the gripping, and the control that we grapple with in our yoga poses, and allowing the body to find its edge, to naturally kind of open into the posture and the shape. And if at any point you feel that you need to come out, you just bring your knees back up to center. Take your feet wide on your mat and knock your knees in on each other. Bring your awareness back to your breath. And then see if you can soften the edges of your skin, the muscles on your face, allowing your face to become expressionless, and all of those little wrinkles and facial muscles can soften and relax. Relax your tongue in your mouth, letting your tongue get heavy and wide on the lower palate. The interesting thing about asana, about these shapes and poses that we practice in Hatha Yoga, is that our edge will move the longer we hold a shape and the more the body naturally opens up into the pose. So we may find that all of a sudden our hips are opening a little more, knees are moving a centimeter or 2 closer to the ground. And our comfort zone has shifted. We can kind of settle into the experience, into the pose and the shape. And how often does that happen when we socialize, when we first enter into an environment that's outside of our comfort zone? We may feel very awkward and anxious. And then the longer we're there, the more we can assimilate to the experience. So just a few more breaths here. And then inhale, bring your knees back up to center. You can use your hands if necessary. And then hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug here. Take a little massage on your low back if that feels good. Then keep your right knee hugged in and extend your left leg long on the ground. Take your right knee into your left hand, right arm comes out to the side in the cactus arm. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, come into a twist. Guide your knee across your body over to the left. If your right shoulder lifts up, you can just place your right hand on your right rib cage. Maybe you turn your gaze out over your right shoulder. Sometimes when we've been practicing yoga for a long time, we find that we're very comfortable in the way that we do the pose. We come to downward facing dog the same way every time over and over again. And yoga asks us to explore each pose, each posture, as if it's the first time, to explore our yoga practice with a beginner's mind to see, okay, where am I limiting myself by staying comfortable? Where am I keeping myself small by falling into a repetitive pattern? And how can I modify and change my experience to create more freedom and space and alignment within the body? And inhale, come back to center. Go ahead and switch sides. Extend your right leg long on your mat. Maybe pause for a moment and feel the difference between your right side and your left side before drawing your left knee into your chest. Take your left knee into your right hand, left arm comes out to the side. Breathe in, and as you exhale, find your twist. You can roll onto the outer edge of your right hip. Take your gaze out over your left shoulder. When we play the edge on our mat, at first it may feel uncomfortable. We may have sensations of discomfort in the body, may be difficult mentally to stay present and breathe. But after some time, we might find that all of a sudden, the edge becomes our comfort zone, and we can soften and relax into the shape. We can soften and relax into our experience. And that's when we can grow. Inhale, come back up through center. Hug both knees into your chest again. And then from here, you'll roll to your right side, slowly make your way all the way up and find a tabletop position. If you would like some padding through your knees, you could use a blanket under your feet here. Bring your wrists right under your shoulders, spread your fingers evenly wide, index fingers point straight ahead. And then walk your knees back until they're just underneath your hips or slightly behind. And we'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow. So as you inhale, arch your spine. Exhale and round. Flow with your breath. I think one of the challenges when it comes to physical injury, when it comes to experiences that change our bodies forever, and when it comes to just aging and our body changing as we get older, one of the biggest challenges is that mental component of our comfort zone shifting. Whereas you know, is this something we were always able to do before? We should be able to do it now. And letting go of that belief, and instead of just saying, this is where my body is. This is where I need to back up. This comes up with my mom all the time, my mom has severe scoliosis, so she's always had pain and limitations. And now that she's older and has some, she needs a hip replacement, and my daughter's 4. I'm always like, Mom, you have to not push it so much. And that's just so hard for her because she just wants to play with her granddaughter. So can we let go of those rigid beliefs and instead honor our bodies? Inhale, come to a neutral spine. And from here, you're gonna pivot your right foot off of your mat. It's gonna come out to the side, and then you'll extend your left leg back and bring your heel down. So we're moving to a Vashisthasana variation. All the weight will come into your right hand, and you'll roll the eye of your right elbow forward. Then your left arm can come up, reach up towards the sky. And you'll see if this works for your body. If you needed to modify this, you can keep your hand on your hip. If this feels really good, you could take your left arm out in line with your ear and do a little side body stretch. And see if you could begin to rotate your rib cage, your heart, up towards the sky. Keep pressing into your left foot, your right hand. Breathe. Exhale and release. Take a moment to pause in child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together. Send your hips back towards your heels. Bring your forefoot down to the ground. Inhale, come back up to table, and we'll do this on the second side. So you'll pivot your left foot off of your mat, extend your right leg back, bring your heel down. All the weight comes into your right hand, roll the eye of the elbow forward. Inhale, right arm up. Breathe. And then you notice where your edge is, especially in a pose like this, it requires so much balance. Maybe you start to rotate the rib cage and the heart up towards the sky, open up just a little bit more, even if it's just with the mind as you soften into the posture. And then exhale, release. Same thing, another pause in child's. Knees wide, big toes touch. If your forehead doesn't come down to your mat, you could stack your fists. You could use a block. And then from here, please make your way into downward facing dog. And take your time. When you arrive in down dog, maybe you pedal out through your legs. And notice the experience in down dog. Does it feel outside of your comfort zone? Does it feel like a resting pose? Typically, the first down dog does not, but at some point in the practice, that shifts. So you just notice, check in. Then inhale, come forward to a high plank. Pause here by bringing your knees down. So if you need that blanket again, please go ahead and feel free to pat your knees. So this is where, when we move through Chaturanga in our vinyasa, this is an experience of wanting to just completely bypass the discomfort that we find. Most people just want to lower down as quick as they can without, any effort if possible. And that's not what yoga asks of us. So here, draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Keep your tailbone lengthening. So instead of resist the urge to kind of come into a tabletop with your butt, instead keep your pelvis and your hips moving forward towards the top of your mat. You lengthen the tailbone down so you feel your pubic bone draw up towards your navel. You keep your shoulder blades on your back and resist your shoulders away from your ears. And see if you could bend your elbows straight back, work outside of your comfort zone, work your edge, and see how slowly you could lower your chest all the way down to the ground. And then once you arrive, point your toes straight back, press the tops of the feet down, shoulders up, back and down, heart lifts. Inhale, little baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can step your left foot in towards your right foot, maybe just an inch. And then inhale, your right leg lifts. And here, open up your hips. So you'll bend your right knee and see if you could take it higher towards the sky. Stacking your hips, coming into a three-legged dog. Try to keep your armpits and your shoulders level towards your mat. Breathe. And then you can circle your right foot, circle your ankle in one direction, and then the other. Point and flex your foot. Go ahead and release. And then you could step your right foot an inch closer to your left, so it's more in the center of your mat. Inhale your left leg up, bend your left knee, stack your hips, coming into three-legged dog on the second side. And same thing here. Roll your ankle in one direction. And then the other. Level out your chest towards your mat the whole time. Point and flex your foot. And then go ahead and release. Options here, you could stay in down dog, you could come right into child's pose, or you could move through a vinyasa. We'll all meet in child's pose. Even in child's pose, can you notice your own comfort zone? For most of us, the comfort zone in child's pose is a shortening of the side bodies. So can you lengthen out of your hips? What do I mean by that? I mean, leave your pelvis where it is, but lengthen your spine. Reach the crown of your head towards the top of your mat, just a little bit more. From here, you'll want to have blocks up at the top of your mat. If you want to take a break for water, this is a good time. And then when you're ready, make your way back into down dog. From downward facing dog, right leg lifts if you inhale. This time lunge it forward as you exhale. So step it all the way up. Help it if you need to, until your right knee is over your right ankle, and then pivot your back heel down. Inhale, cartwheel your arms up, warrior two. So in warrior two, center of the head is right over the tailbone. There's a tendency to kind of lean forward, take the left rib cage back in space. And then from here, with your arms extended straight out in line with your shoulders, we're going to flip our palms. And as you inhale, you'll straighten your front leg and reach your arms up overhead as much as you can. And then exhale, turn your palms away, bend your right knee. We'll flow like this for a few breaths. Inhale, arms up, leg straightens. Exhale, arms come back down, knee bends. Two more. Good. From here, you'll you'll straighten your right leg again. Setting up for triangle pose. Reach your right fingertips forward, past your toes, and then bring your hands down to your block outside of your right shin. Left arm up towards the sky, or you could keep your left hand down on your waist. Couple of breaths. And now we're going to play with our comfort zone. We're going to move out of it just a little bit. And know that you can stop at any time. So here, bend your left elbow, bring your left hand to your hip. Bend your right knee and toe heel your back foot in a little bit. Step your block up and out to the right. And then play with just bringing weight into your right foot. So we're going to come into half moon pose here. And maybe you just stay like this. Maybe you're just bringing some weight forward. And you're like, I'm not going any further today. And that's fine. Or you could step up onto your right foot, straighten your right leg, flex your left foot, extend your leg a little higher, a little longer, and then start to rotate your chest towards the long edge of your mat. Draw your left shoulder blade into your back, and maybe your left arm comes in. So you play here with your edge. And then whenever you're ready, you slowly come out. Bring your hand back to your hip, step your left foot down, your block back. Bring your hands down, downward facing dog. Same three options here, down dog, vinyasa, or tiles. Second side, left leg lifts as you inhale. Lunge it forward as you exhale. Move steps as you lead. Pivot your back heel down. And then you'll cartwheel your arms up. Warrior two, second side. Center of the head right over your tailbone. Your knee tracks open towards your second toe. Extend your arms. Couple of breaths here. And then we'll find that flow where you straighten your left leg, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, come back down. So as you straighten your palms, turn up, reach your arms up. Then palms face away from each other and come back down towards the ground. Two more. And then from warrior two, you'll straighten your left leg, reach your left fingertips forward, find triangle pose first. Use your block. Maybe you gaze up to your right thumb. And then you know where we're going on this side. So you take it slow, you move at your own pace. You bring your right hand to your hip. Bend your left knee, toe heel your right foot in a little. Step your block up and over to the left. And then play with bringing weight into your left foot. And then maybe when you're ready, you step up into half moon. And if you do, you really activate your back leg. Flex your foot. Hug the muscles of your leg to the bone. See if you could stack your hips. Rotate your heart and your chest towards the long edge of your mat. Maybe right arm comes up. And when you feel ready, you slowly make your way out of the pose and into downward facing dog. Option here for a final vinyasa. And from downward facing dog, you'll take your right leg to the sky. This time, bring your right knee forward for pigeon. So your right knee is going to come towards your right wrist. Your right foot comes over to the left side of your mat. You can walk your left toes back and in towards the midline. Hug your legs in towards each other. If this variation of pigeon doesn't work for your body, you can always do it on your back. Then lift your chest, lift your heart. And decide where your edge is. Maybe it's staying upright like this. Maybe it's using your blocks under your forearms. Maybe it's coming all the way down. And once you feel comfortable in the shape, comfortable in the sense that you're not still making adjustments to your alignment, you're in a position that you can commit to, even if there's discomfort in the body. Begin to just explore your edges. And see if you could soften those places that feel resistant, sharp, gripping, or tight. So sometimes we need to kind of soften our boundaries, let down our walls. And sometimes maybe our tendency is to not put walls up enough. Maybe we need to hug in a little bit more, back up, say no. So yoga reveals so much about ourselves, our nature, our patterns, our behaviors. And it gives us the opportunity to explore this in the safety of our mat. And to shine the light of awareness on the things that maybe we need to work on or change when we step off of the mat. We'll be here for another minute. And then you'll slowly come out. You'll make your way back into down dog. And once you do, take another three-legged dog. Take your right leg up. Bend your knee. Open up the hips. And then we'll switch sides. Right foot comes down. Inhale, left leg lifts. Bring your left knee forward for pigeon on the second side, and take your time finding the version that's best for you, the shape on this side. And then once you found the expression of the pose that's right for you today, a shape that you could commit to being in for a length of time, that's when you see where you can begin to release tension where there doesn't need to be tension. So in pigeon, there's a hugging in of the legs, right? We're still keeping these muscles active, activated. We're keeping a boundary to hold our bones in alignment and the right shape. But are there areas where maybe you're gripping your jaw? Maybe your tongue is pressing up against the roof of your mouth. Maybe your shoulders are moving up towards your ears. Maybe you're furrowing your brow or squinting your eyes.
We'll be here for one more minute. To see what you could let go of. And then you'll slowly make your way out of the shape. Gently finding your way back into downward facing dog. From here, take your left leg to the sky. Bend your knees, stack your hips, three-legged dog. And exhale, release. Find your way to sit. Come to sit with the soles of your feet together, your knees wide. You can move the flesh away from your sitting bones. Press your feet into each other. Bring your hands to your ankles or your feet. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, hinge from your hips as you fold forward and notice where you find your edge. And once you find it, pause. Take a few breaths. And then notice if with the breath, if something softens and maybe your edge has moved a little further away. Maybe you settle more into the shape. Or maybe you just settle more into yourself. With every inhale, there's a lengthening in the spine, and with every exhale, a surrender. Inhale to rise, use your hands on the backs of your thighs, draw your knees back up to center, come on down onto your back. Bend your knees and place your feet on the ground. Have your feet, if you're sitting bone or hip distance apart, take your arms out to a T or to cactus. Press into your feet, lift up your hips and move them an inch to the left. Then exhale, drop your knees to the right. Take your gaze out over your left shoulder. Inhale, knees back up to center. You'll move your hips 2 inches to the right. Take a breath in as you exhale, knees to the left, gaze out over the right shoulder. Inhale back to center, hug your knees into your chest. Take your knees wide, soles of the feet up towards the sky. Grab onto the pinky toe edges of your feet for happy baby. You could rock side to side or keep this stationary. And then this one final time, play your edge. See if maybe you could widen the knees away from each other a little bit. Move your sitting bones towards your mat. And draw your knees down closer to the earth. And when this pose feels complete with you, hug your knees back into your chest one final time. And then make your way into Shavasana. Extend your legs long on your mat. Let your feet gently open to the sides. Bring your arms down by your sides with your palms face up and roll your shoulders onto your back. Take a full breath in and a complete breath out. Now give yourself permission here to fully release the weight of your body. To release all of the weight that you've been carrying. To let go of anything that happened before this moment. And anything that's yet to come. To let go of all the times that you've stayed in your comfort zone, kept yourself safe. All the times that you've been brave and moved beyond it. All of the times that you've been reckless. And all of the times that you've practiced restraint. Let it all go. And allow yourself to fully surrender into Shavasana. Very gently begin to deepen your breath. Draw awareness back into your body as you wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can start to move and stretch in any way that feels good. Maybe reaching the arms overhead and taking the full body stretch. Then on an exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Make your way to your right side. And using the strength of your arms, press yourself back up to find a comfortable seat. Once you arrive, close your eyes. Now your hands together in front of your heart. And call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class. Feel free to modify it in any way to carry it with you off of your mat, back out into your life and into the world. And then we'll end our class and seal in our intentions with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for your practice. So wonderful to be here with all of you in person and at home. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and enjoy the beautiful weather. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
Debbie, have a great day.
Have a good one, you too. Take a spin on that merry-go-round.
Wish me luck.
I felt the same way, Erin. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think if I wasn't still breastfeeding, I'd be like popping in Xanax.
That's why I said go on a ride in the merry-go-round, Ani.
There you go. All right. I'll talk to you
Take care.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.